Welcome to Optimize Your Core Strength in 4 Weeks program. I created this program to help you find your inner core and to help you integrate it into functional movement. Over the course of the 4 weeks, we're going to work on finding how to activate our inner core, how to integrate it with our diaphragm, and how to optimize our movement while stabilizing our pelvis. Our core, or what referred to as our deep core, consists of several muscles that help stabilize our spine and our pelvis. So if we think of our spine as a biotensegrity model, what that means is that our spine, our vertebrae, are connected with each other through a certain amount of tension created by our muscles, our ligaments, and our fascia. If this is our spinal model, if we think of the round these are our vertebrae, our bones. The black rubber bands would be our muscles, and the little knobs will be our ligaments. Our spine moves segmentally. That's why we have a certain amount of vertebrae in our lumbar spine, thoracic spine, and cervical spine. For the movement to be optimal, each segment has a certain amount of movement. So when we flex our spine, we should segmentally flex through a certain amount of degree of motion with each vertebrae. Same happens when we extend our spine, when we rotate and side bend. When our core functions well, our spine is optimally supported through all segments. However, when compressive forces happen, such as body weight, activities that we do day to day, when we have compression that happens on our spine, our core is meant to provide a certain amount of tension and integrity to our structure to support that load, to have the capacity to withstand the load. If we provide compression from the top to the bottom, in this, for example, we can see that our model breaks somewhere. Usually that breaks at the weakest link. However, if you can visualize, if I were to provide strings and I were to tie equal amount of tension through all the different levels through the strings to support this particular model, and then if I were to provide the compression from above, the whole structure would compress equally through each side, but it won't necessarily break. That is what our inner core does. It's not about the strength or the six-pack abs or how strong, my superficial muscles are. It's about the tension that is equal from the front, from the back, from each sides to support our spine and to be able to withstand compressive forces equally through all the different functional activities that we do and planes of motion. The inner core consists of several very important muscles that we can't really palpate per se, and we're not supposed to feel them on a daily basis. The most important one being transverse abdominis, that wraps around like a corset, starts from each vertebrae of our back, from the transverse processes, wraps around and attaches to itself in the front. That muscle provides compression. It doesn't move our spine. It literally helps support our vertebrae apart from each other. So it actually decompresses our discs by providing that support. The second important muscle is multifidus, which goes from one vertebrae to the other. It's in the back of our spine, and it kind of looks like this Christmas tree I like to refer to. It goes from one segment to the other, and it helps support our spine in the back. It helps support extension type movement. The next is our pelvic floor. The pelvic floor is in the bottom, goes from one hip bone to the other through our sit bones, and it helps to literally support all our internal organs that provide pressure and weight on our pelvic floor. It's incredibly important muscle. It's a set of muscles within our body, and our pelvic floor works in unison with our breathing diaphragm. Everybody knows our diaphragm. It acts as a bucket handle. When we take a breath in, The diaphragm descends, it pushes our ribs out so that we can fill our lungs with air. And then as we exhale, the diaphragm goes back up and the transverse abdominis is able to activate and engage our lumbar-pelvic region. The pelvic floor and diaphragm, they work together in unison and they move together as we breathe. That is why frequently proper breathing is so important for our core stabilization. Sometimes you may find yourself holding your breath or kind of locking yourself in, and part of that is that breathing diaphragm acts as a stabilizer instead of a mobilizer because there's a dysfunction within the transverse abdominis or the pelvic floor. So as we go through this 4-week program, we're going to emphasize proper breathing pattern in order to facilitate our diaphragm function. Last but not least, within our inner core is our hip muscle activation. Our deep hip rotators on each side, we're going to refer to them as a group of our hip rotators, internal and external, are very important in providing lateral stability through our pelvis and to be able to move and load properly from one hip to the other. And so this entire system works together to provide lumbar-pelvic stability and spinal stability. Over the next 4 weeks, the way that I designed this module, I want you to go through module 1 and I want you to do those exercises over the week every single day. When the week 2 rolls around, you're going to continue doing the module 1 and add the exercises in week 2, and so forth all the way through week 4. The program is designed to build from the ground up. If you feel that you're not there, continue with week 1 for a couple of weeks before you progress to week 2. It's designed to be done at your own pace, and you will have access to the program forever, as long as you need to. If you have any questions along the program, please feel free to contact me through Healthy Chat. I will be available to answer and to support you along your journey. My goal is for you to be able to find those deep muscles, to be able to activate them, to bring awareness to what the inner core is, and to be able to integrate them into functional movement so that you can do what you love for the rest of your life. Thank you and welcome.